Well, what's up, everybody? It's Zach with KT Outdoors, and I'm down here this morning in the greenhouse, and I need to water. These plants need a little drink, but I went and turned the water onto the hose, and I found this. Yeah, that leak is substantial and not going to work. I don't really want to take a shower this morning while I'm trying to water everything. So today, I'm going to show you how to fix a leaky hose. That's coming up next. Okay, so the first step is obviously to shut off the water so that you can kind of identify the problem. And you can see here that our issue is just that this hose is worn out. And, you know, some people would say just duct tape it. Yeah, that might work, but it's also going to end up being an issue with at least a little bit of leakage and all of that. I mean, if all you have is duct tape, that would work. You could see that what I tried to do was take this collar thing, which was all worn out, so you can kind of tell how old this hose is. It's multiple seasons old. But what happens with the hose is that as you use it, it bends, right, like that. And so what I tried to do was put this up here, which is where it started actually, so that it wouldn't be able to bend there, and then it just slid down. So anyway, so this is all garbage. So the first step to fixing this is to just recognize that this is a lost cause and this damaged piece of hose needs to come out. So I'm going to cut it back here and give up that little bit of stuff that's underneath all that duct tape, just so that I get down to clean hose here. Okay, so first things first, let's get this stuff off. So that's the quick connect system. I'll talk more about that a little bit later and why it's awesome. But I need to unthread the female end here and get down to the bare hose. So now that that's done, we can cut it. Okay, so cutting a garden hose is pretty easy. You can use just about anything you have around that will cut it. You can actually cut garden hose pretty well with just some simple pruning shears. These are bypass pruning shears, so I could just come right in there and just cut right through there like that, no problem. If you want to go a little bit more, you could get something like this, which is an actual tool for cutting hoses. And this is something that we use for irrigation. So you can see that was a tiny bit easier, but it still left a little bit of a thing. So we want to kind of be careful about having too much of a bulge there, but I don't think that's going to be any issue. If it was, I'll just kind of cut that off. I'm looking for this to be just nice and flush and flat across there. Now, this particular hose is a kink-free hose, and so I don't know how well that's going to show on the camera. You see that little tiny nub of plastic right there? Okay, like that runs the whole length of the hose. This cross section here is actually a really good example of how these kink-free hoses work. So it's difficult to kink that, because even if that gets bent, right, like it's always got some openings, you could kink it some this way, but even then it would still let a little bit of water through. But that's that little rib of plastic. And so that's going to be something that we're going to have to fight a tiny bit, but it'll still work just fine. If you were really struggling with what we're about to use, you could reach in there with a pair of snips and try to cut that out and create room for the thing to fit in there, but I think it'll be okay. Okay, so from here it's pretty simple. You're just going to take some scissors or some pruners or something, cut that piece off so that you can get to these two pieces, and then these two pieces are going to go into here. Okay, and you can already see part of the issue is going to be getting that inside of there. But one of the things that I want to make sure that I remember to do is get this on first, because you can't put this on afterwards. So this part needs to go on first. So just slide that down out of your way, and then you're going to take this part and you're just going to kind of try to wedge it. Now I'm starting it underneath that lip, okay, so you can kind of see that I got that lip up on the top right there, so it's out of the way. And then you're just gonna kind of wiggle this thing down into place like that. Okay, so now that's all down in there, and then now we're going to bring this back up to right underneath here and clamp it around that piece. It's a little bit tight because of how it came, so I'm just going to use this to unscrew it, and now I can get it up over the ring. Okay, and so there I got it. I hold it in place. And then I tighten it down. Now I'm going for like crazy tight because I know that that little piece of rubber is in there, and I need to squeeze it and compress it enough that the water can't get through there. Okay, the other thing that does is it sets this thing up so that it keeps it from twisting on me when I go to put on my fittings. That seems to be the number one issue that I seem to have with these types of repairs, is that after time, this part will start twisting inside of the hose, especially if it's a hose that doesn't have that little lip, rib thing, whatever. And then when you go to put on a faucet bib, it'll twist on you and it gets annoying, which is why I love this system, because since everything I have runs with this quick coupler, I never have to twist anything on there once it's on there. So make sure you have the rubber gasket inside of there. Twist this back on, just like that. Nice and tight, it doesn't want to twist. So I think we should be good. So there we go, all fixed up, easy peasy. And now we go turn the water back on and test it. We're live with water, and you can see there's a slow drip. It's leaking a little tiny bit, but 10 times better than it was. And the drip honestly stops as soon as you release pressure by turning on the faucet. Now that drip is coming down the line of the thing, not the hose connection itself. Now that is entirely caused by that little rib that was in there. You can see there's a little bit, a tiny little bit of weepage, which is coming from that rib that was in there. So had I gone in there and tried to trim that out, it might have been better. Okay, so as you can see from this little bit of footage here after the initial repair, look closely at my hand where the handle is connected to this watering wand, and you can see a pretty steady drip happening. More than enough to be annoying. I knew that that little rib in there was going to cause an issue, but I tried to talk myself out of it and went ahead and made the repair, and it was just not sufficient. So what we need to do now is go in and take out that little rib of plastic so that the fitting can get squeezed down tightly. Let's jump into that now. can see that no amount of compressing was going to squeeze that down. So what we need to do is remove it. And for that, I'm going to try these little micro garden shears. Yeah, I think that will work. And I'm just basically just kind of trying to reach in, get the blade down underneath there, and cut that out. Okay, so you can see I'm not really damaging the interior wall of that. So we should be good to go. So that's about a pinky knuckles length, and that light's horrible, but it's going to be more for it to grab here and try to get tight around that collar. So let's try again. I'm pretty sure that right now what's happening, yeah, you can kind of see it in there. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it. The plastic is kind of starting to get pushed up by the metal at the bottom of the thing, of the fitting, or whatever you want to call it. Oh, I feel much better about that already. So you can kind of see down in, I mean, I don't know, and I don't have a light for you to see. There's a little tiny nub of plastic. Oh, there we go. Now we're cooking. So you can see as that fitting got pushed down in to the hose where I had cut away this front part, the metal edge started grabbing, and it just kind of pushed like a banana peel and curled this thing back. So it was hanging out in the middle of the thing, so I just reached down there, grabbed it, and yanked it out. That's more like it. No drips whatsoever. The water is on, but we've got nothing there now. Alright, well, there you go. So perfect repair, no fix or no leak whatsoever, just by cutting out that little rib. Yeah, I know I said I was okay with it, but I was totally not okay with it. It was dripping all over while I was watering those tomatoes, and that's just not going to work when the fix is as easy as it was. So anywho, great little system. If you have hoses that need repaired, it's pretty simple to do. If you have tried this method and ran into the problem that I did, I just showed you the solution. You have to make sure that you have a perfectly round hose interior in order for that thing to seal up nice and tight. So make sure you trim out any of those kink-free things that might be inside of your hoses. But yeah, should be good to go. So anyway, there you go. I hope this helps. If you got some value out of this, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and maybe even comment down below if this was useful for you. And actually comment down below if you're interested in learning more about this quick connect system. I really like it because I do a lot of stuff with hoses around here. So it's a pretty sweet deal to be able to just pop one on, pop one off, not have to twist them all the time. So anyway, I'm pretty happy with them. So that's all for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and remember to get outside and get growing, because life's better when it's lived outdoors. We'll see you next time.